So, I've noticed I've been a little too positive on the show, singing its praises, calling one of the best shows ever, analyzing characters that I love, and characters that I find getting hated too much, OCs that I find a little too bashed on, and etc., etc. It shouldn't be like that. And while I stand by those opinions, I still think that it's okay to talk about the bad elements of something you love. They make you appreciate the good elements of the show more. In fact, they make you appreciate it even more than you think. So that is why I have decided to count down my top 5 least favorite MLP episodes. So prepare yourself for another journey into the dark side. Number 5. Hearts and Hooves Day. This is a rather easy one. The main reason why I didn't like this episode was because of the constant ooey gooey love talk. No, really, that's it. That's the only reason why I hate this episode. Well, hate's a strong word. This is the only reason why I dislike this episode. It's very grinding on my ears. That said, compared to the other episodes on this list, I'd rather watch it. So Hearts and Hooves Day, I'll give you a little bit of a pass. However, let me make this clear. Whenever I watch you, I will be fast-forwarding through all the stupid, incessant love talk. Number 4. One Bad Apple. This one is here on a more personal level. This is the famous, or rather infamous, bullying episode. My biggest problem with the episode has been, and always will be, the moral of the episode. That, if you go to an adult, it is the only logical solution for if you're being bullied. If I may get a little bit too real, as someone who was personally bullied through his entire school life, I can tell you personally that is not the case. I went to an adult so many times to tell them my problems, and the adults of the world literally just gave up on me because they were starting to think it was my fault. I felt trapped and helpless and abandoned. It wasn't until I finally stood up for myself that the bullies started to knock it off. I was tired of being their punching bag, so I punched back. Standing up for myself literally is what saved me. The other problems with the episode too, like Babs' torture of the CMC really wasn't now that funny. The CMC basically about to attempt murder for revenge. Babs joining Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon really kind of felt rushed. I personally think that the moral should have been this. A bully is looking for power over others. Bullies often seek catharsis over their victim's misery, and there's no real true way to 100% deal with them. This was only one method, and sure, it worked, but it wasn't an instant fix for the situation. Then again, this may be my point of view as a victim of bullying. If you see it differently, I don't have an issue with that. It's just that I think it should have been done a whole lot better. Number 3. What about Discord? Yep, I put a Discord episode on my least favorite list. Please, come at me, bro. I'm sorry, I love Discord as much as the next brony, but I will not pull my punches on this episode. Season 5 is my favorite season of MLP. However, there were 2 episodes I personally could not stand, and this is definitely one of them. What about Discord's main problem is that it all centers around one joke. Had to have been there. I get that we as an audience should feel just as much as the darkest Twilight does. However, it gets frustrating and grinding on the audience when we don't know what Discord is going on about and why that weekend was so special. Second, I feel Twilight acted way worse here than she has ever acted in this entire series. I said last week that Twilight is the character I relate to the most. That includes my negative qualities as well. She's neurotic, she's impulsive, and she's a bit egotistical. However, the one thing that made me instantly dislike a character the most is overblown arrogance. She was so arrogant and egotistical in this episode. She was insufferable. Thinking the worst of Discord, even though really it was just him having fun with his friends. You know, friends? The ones he got after having his heart pounded into mush by Tirek? I may not like make new friends but keep Discord, but at least I can understand him not being used to the concept of friends hanging out with other friends and not himself. Twilight of all ponies should know that her friends can hang out with other ponies. Her getting jealous makes absolutely no sense, given that her other friends hang out without her all the flippin' time. I felt the humor was rather weak as well, relying way too much on pop culture references instead of what makes Discord funny in the first place. That being said, I did find it nice that Discord was just hanging out with his friends. It was nice and sweet, and the other members of the main 6 finding his antics funny worked out okay. However, I feel this episode was very bad and honestly just unpleasant. However, not as unpleasant as my top 2. Number 2, putting your hoof down. You know, I said earlier it's important to teach kids how to stand up for themselves. I left out the part that you shouldn't take things too far, like beating the snot out of someone because they called you a bad name. So, in some ways, I respect the intention of this episode for trying to teach this lesson to kids. However, by Celestia, this was a fail. Let us count the ways, shall we? First and foremost, the scenes of Rarity and Pinkie Pie acting like manipulative little teases counted as asserting yourself. No, that's dishonest and despicable behavior. It's morally wrong even to those who aren't all that nice to begin with. Second of all, Angel Bunny makes me want to have Fossenpfeffer. He was acting like a complete and total brat in this episode, and honestly should have received more of a comeuppance than he did receive in the end. Finally, there was no transition from Fluttershy into her more crazed personality. Before anyone blames Irewell, consider this. He was just doing his job as a self-help guru. Sure, it was bad advice, but Fluttershy is the one who took the bad advice and then took it to the extreme. This whole episode just felt so mean-spirited, not the least being the infamous scene where Fluttershy turns her aggressive behavior towards Pinkie and Rarity. However, at the end of the day, I still just don't like this episode. There is only one episode in this entire series that I have absolutely hated. And the number one episode that I don't like is Do Princesses Dream of Magic Sheep? I hate this episode. Hate is a very, very strong word, but I hate this episode. I felt the plot was insulting, the moral very poorly handled, and the character interaction to be weak at best and downright reprehensible at worst. Not only that, but I have gone on record stating that this episode was a huge step backwards for Luna's character. Gone is the pony that decided to do something with her life and educate others. Now we are left with a pony who is so guilty that she does things to herself with the implications that are downright reprehensible. Now, that wouldn't bother me so much, as forgiving yourself for past mistakes is a good moral. It's a great moral. It's a fantastic moral, really, except it was the way it was handled. It was solved in one speech. That just isn't how reality works. It takes time to forgive yourself. It takes time to fully forgive yourself for any bad things you've done. Something that I have learned personally in my life. It isn't going to take 10 seconds to resolve. However, that's not the only problem of the episode. The main problem is how Luna was handling her guilt. Luna creates the Tantipus to torment herself every night so that she can never forgive herself for what she's done. That is basically the equivalent of turning to alcohol to ease the pain or cutting yourself every time you mess up. I understand there needed to be a bad thing that she was doing, but this was not the way to go about it. It is not healthy, and honestly the most disturbing implication I've seen in this show. This is one reveal turned the entire episode to a meh to downright hatred. There are several ways this could have been done better. Have Celestia in the freaking episode and helping the main six, even though she has no powers and dreams. By the way, that excuse sounded so forced. Instead of Luna doing this to yourself, have the Tantipus be something that has been harassing Luna for a while, and she's been trying to deal with it because this was something that was created by Nightmare Moon's magic, and she feels like it's her fault that it exists. I can go on all day on how to fix this plot and still make this a great episode. However, as of right now, this is easily my least favorite episode of the show and the only episode I have downright hated. It makes me uncomfortable watching it again due to those implications swarming in my head. However, I have something to say. Just because I didn't like this episode doesn't mean that you can't. Nor does it mean I'm right with the other four as well. We all have our own opinions, and that's what makes this fandom great. However, I personally cannot stand these 5 episodes, especially Do Princesses Dream of Magic Sheep. However, if you like them though, that's okay. A fandom should be about different opinions about something that many mutually like. I understand that many like some of the episodes I've listed, and that's okay. However, I personally think these are the worst episodes of the show, though it is not my intention to change your point of view, just offer a different perspective. That being said, that is all I gotta say. Creature of the Night, out. Oh boy, that was cathartic. Oh hey, cool, I got 10 subs. I gotta do something special for that. I wonder what topic.